Hello, good afternoon, and aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining this session, and thank you, Financial Sense, for the opportunity to be here today. Looks like this. Let me share this. Okay, please let me know if you're able to see this in the chat. Okay, I see some of you are from Delaware. I am in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is my template. But before we get into the template, it is November 13th. Perfect timing to sharing and talking about workflow and especially end review. Again, thank you, Financial Sense, for the opportunity. And I'd like, before we get into the structure, I don't really have a lot of fancy presentation here today, but I'd like to, I prefer to be interactive with the attendants here today. So if you are new here, please ask questions as I'm going to present the workflow that I have and use for my firm myself. I am Malia White, and I am the co-founder of VOS Accounting and Tax Services out of Cumming, Georgia. And I have started, we've been using Financial Sense for about a year now. I started with Financial Sense at the end of last year. And so it's November again, and it's 1 year anniversary. Thank you so much. The software has grown dramatically in its capability, and we love what we've seen. And to start off with this is the first year. So we've been in business for over 10 years, but this is the first year we're able to do a deadline cutoff by 5 o'clock. Normally it's going through 10 p.m., the deadline of the tax month. Hi, Tracy. I see that you are here in Atlanta too. Welcome. John, Alan Johns, hello. Let's look at this. And before we start on here, I'd like to, because when I go to my own personal template, the client task is showing up in the bottom. This is a demo the Financial Sense shared with me. Thank you. But this is actually very an excellent way to start this off, the structure that we're talking about. Starting off the client task. And I'd like to share a little bit that before onboarding any of our clients, what I normally like to tell them is, because VOS accounting, VOS in Latin is your. So it's really a partnership. Because looking at this template alone, there's truly a partnership there. The year-end review, the clients have all the source documents, and we are providing them with whatever analytics based out of those. So during onboarding, it's one of the main things that are brought to their attention. The partnership won't work if they do not do their part of the job. And if looking at this right now, the client task here, it may be updated for most of you, and you might ask, why is there upload your bank statements? Why is there upload your credit card statements? Or why are you still requesting physical papers from your clients? Now, this template was built during a time when it's for a client. Over 90% of our clients are referral based. So they come in and they immediately, because there's already trust established through the referral, they provide logins. Now, this is strictly for new clients. They're like either a walk-in or a phone call that comes in. So that's why you see that we're doing the upload your bank statements, the credit card and loan, and whatever other documents. But this is very general and for clients that we have no idea or have not in a referral for us. Hi, Amanda. I see that you're in Connect County here, and Tanita, welcome. Let's scroll down here. And this is where my team tasks reside. So because the clients have their portion of section, the responsibility that they need to get to us in order for us. So we're not able to move into anything until all of this is completed or submitted to us. Most days, and the template alone, some of us are still working October closing. We duplicated this and used it for month end too, just a little tweak here and there. Once the clients submit all the required or requested documents, then here our admin can review whatever has been uploaded to us. Now, if everything has been submitted, then her job is done, reviewing and move it up the ladder to the next person. And then bookkeepers start preparing the financials, and then here comes the reviewer. Like you're building paperwork and close the books, and then the reviewer will come in and review, of course, and prepare the year-end financial summary. Now, I normally review before releasing any paperwork. To the clients. And we always make sure that we archive all our reviewed documents under the file tabs up here. And I think one of the best part here is that we're able to integrate our email to where everything flows into communication, and we can easily pull them up here where everything is streamlined.
Malia,
and somebody once asked me
Malia,
months ago,
share your screen, please?
if maybe we need to add down here, because you cannot really close it out until you build the client, right?
Malia,
And
would you be able to
yes,
read
you can
your screen?
indeed you will build the client and check it is indeed built. And especially if you're using Financial Sense payments and pay system. Hi, Carl. Good to see you again. Spencer. Melissa, aloha. And I think I'll pause here and let you all ask questions if you have any. Okay, I'm looking at some of the questions here. Gailey is asking, was there anything you found that you wish Financial Sense would improve or do differently? I think at this point, because I'm fairly new to the system, I would love to see reporting. I think it's the presentation of the reporting itself, especially on scheduling. That's what I'd like to see. And please, if you are already a user, I think most users already know that Financial Sense are one of the very few software companies out there who are open to critiques. And I'm looking at Guile here. Was your team get on board with this process pretty early on? No. So Guile, in November, I was pretty much doing a CFA job for someone else. And November, I thought, okay, VOS is going to be where I need to contribute my time 200%. So I started looking at management software, practice for accountants, and and found Financial Sense. So I was the only one who started looking to it. I signed up for a demo and immediately fell in love with it. Probably because I could understand better how the setup and the flow of information, and also this template that I was able to contribute in a way that was meaningful for other people as well, and then slowly get to onboard one by one. So if you have an admin person, it's probably the best week, allocate 1 week to onboard an admin person onto it, because you're going to have to go step by step. And each one of them have their own template to where they know what the work is called for. And but I do not have that template shared here. That is internal to us, which I can probably drop to the library soon. Shannon, did that help with your question?
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Malia. Could we go back through your year-end review? And I just want to open up the comment section. And as you're all in this session, you're really interested in being able to do a much more streamlined approach to your year-end. Malia, how did it feel before you had Financial Sense, before you had this template when you came to a year-end review?
Okay, so the number one reason that pushed me to look is the failure. There was a failure in communication, right? Come to find out that 2 of the clients weren't filed timely. That was completely on the firm. So we connected some of the communication because there was nothing to communicate it together to where it properly create a flow to where everybody can see stuff clearly. No, but that's what got me too, because I do not really like when somebody complains about my work, and I'm sure every other accountants don't like to hear that.
Yeah, put it in the chat. Who doesn't like to hear that? Put a fire emoji, guys. We love some support there, right? You don't want to hear a client complain. Maybe let's talk about that. So when a client gives feedback like that, how do you manage kind of that conversation?
Right. So first of all, reach out to the client, get to apologize because it's really on me. Our team failed to follow through with the task at hand. They did submit everything on time to us, just deadline game and fell through the crack. So that was it. I had to look and then find Financial Sense. And my favorite part of it is also where everybody is held accountable. Right?
Absolutely. Accountability is so significant.
Yes.
So how many team members do you have?
I have right now 3, but I think I have 5 users on there.
Okay, you have 5 users.
Yes, I have
And
5 users.
to just be able to see where everyone's at. I know you talked a little bit about the client collaboration. So when it comes to making sure that your team is getting the work done, how has a Financial Sense been influential in that for things like year end, things like just the bigger projects that your clients are really relying on you for?
Right. So one of to probably emphasize the number one significant thing that we saw this year with Financial Sense is the deadline alone in itself. Because like I said, we have never been able to close on a deadline at 5 p.m. It's always through 10 p.m. at night. So this year by 5, we're like, oh, wow, everybody has submitted everything and we have submitted everything. So there, you can see that there's accountability all around, which was awesome to witness. And I look at it and I know that there's some people asking online about there's something that are missing on the software, but I know it's growing as well and it's scaling at the same time. So yes.
And as a leader in your firm and within the industry, what are some of the strategies you've come up with to be able to manage that? And like really when you're looking at your leadership style, what are you bringing to your team?
So I know that leadership is used generally speaking, but in my office, everybody is a leader.
I love to
because that's where, yes. So they're able to take on the task that is assigned to them and know that it's on them. And it's open a lot of room for creativity as well. Because I keep telling everybody, hey, just because I know the answer does not mean it's the best answer. So let's hear yours, right? And yes, sometimes they come up with the best answer, and we're open to it and implement that. Some of it are communication. Right now we have our email, the company email is fully integrated into Financial Sense to where, okay, like when you set up your customer, their contact information and their all of the whatever communication you exchange with that specific customer is intact. And if there is a, like on a system alone, I think one of my favorite thing is when there is an action item that is coming through an email from a customer, it's highlighted, and this is where I'd like to also see an extension or a development out of it, to where AI may be helping in a way. Let's say customer is wanting something else added to their package, not just bookkeeping, but doing taxes as well. So because there is an actionable item in there, you're able to take that email and create a project immediately out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yes.
What are some of the blind spots in your leadership that get exposed during the busiest seasons, and how do you try to address them?
Oh gosh. I just, like right now is tax planning season, and I feel like I'm scatterbrained, right? But thank God we have this, because you document everything, like it's established in a way that everything, you can go look at one client in one place and all the documents are attached to it. And it helps me. I guess it goes back to the theme, which is calm, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that speaks really importantly to everyone here, where when you're in a season of busyness and a lot of things are coming at you, right? What is going to bring that calm to your life, knowing that you can walk in to your work and get it accomplished?
It's this flow. So I will go back to this, the template. There's a system that is proven to be working. Stick with it. Which is, for us, this is it. Year end or month end, we tweak the template and use it for our month end too, and that's how we know, hey, we're actually still waiting on 1, 2, 3 items from the customer. And but
So
yeah.
I noticed in your team tasks, you have automatically request year-end statements from the client. Could we dive a little bit more into that? I think you might have showed it, but let's open that up and just look at the recurring reminders, because sometimes when you're really scattered and it's that season of just everything's coming at you, and you're putting out fires left to right, it's not ideal to be the bottleneck holding that reminder, right?
Correct.
So why don't you go through a little bit about those automatic reminders?
Yes. So these are, and this is what really driven us to close on a goal where we get to close same day. Let's say October 15th at 5 o'clock, the office closed. It's no longer through 10 o'clock. This automation here actually really helped to where the clients they're being sent probably 2 times a week if they fail to upload their statements. Now the system does it all for us, right? We don't have to, because if they forgot, chances are we forget too. But the system alone in itself we set up the automation from the beginning of this template to where it allows the system to send auto reminders on behalf of the company. And that really helps us, because by Monday morning, we wake up and we got notifications, oh, here. And then we got a call from the customer. Sorry, we forgot to get this to you last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how does that create a feedback loop for your performance, for your entire team?
Okay, then everybody knows that let's say the customer, like the communication, forgot to send it to us last week. That puts a hold on the person that the job is assigned to. So we had to find something else for that person. And then I guess there's a direct relationship to the scheduling as well.
Oh, what's that relationship?
Because if you're not getting it, let's say the automation is there, the system is there, but the customer is not on time, then you got to find work for the person that has been assigned that task to do. And they may be deep into a different project. So scheduling is taken away until maybe a week or two later, the customer is coming back and saying, oh, hey, here is this. So we got to pull the person who originally got the task back here. So scheduling is becoming something that we now have to work on and work with.
Definitely. I hear all the time from firm leaders that capacity management is one of the most difficult things to juggle, especially when you're bringing on new clients or when you're getting in a boatload more work. I'm curious, with your templates and within Financial Sense, what kind of do you time track or do you not time track? What kind of?
Yes, we do time track because proposals are going out. Some of the clients, they actually before hourly. So it is on us to check the time, and we do track the time. So when that is the case, and some just want a monthly fee assigned to their project. But yes, the time tracking tremendously, and especially in transparency.
Let's open it up to the attendees. I'd love to hear from them in the chat about how if it's pretty, some people do time track and some people don't. So I'd love to hear, put a 1 if you time track and put a 2 if you don't. I'd love to see that. We're seeing ones, a lot of ones. So a lot of people are, oh, there's some 2s there. If you're a 2, tell us what you do instead. And if you're a 1, why have you stuck with time tracking? How does that help you in capacity management? So again, if you're a 1, how does time tracking help you? And if you're a 2, what do you do instead? So we'll see some of those comments come in. And what are some of the ultimate game changers? If someone really wants to ensure they master their year-end review so they can go home at night, like you were saying, actually have an evening to themselves, what are some key components in this that really absolutely make it a masterful template?
So I think I'd like to look at it 3 ways. There's responsibility. Everybody's assigned a task, because without clarity in there, there's uncertainty. And we're looking at our theme, clear the chaos and find your calm. There's no calm in chaos. So yeah. And I think having role clarity is number 1 thing. Like you need your person to know what they're being assigned and understand there's a deadline. Then there is the accountability where everybody, it's like I mentioned, is the partnership really. Without the clients getting to us what we need, we cannot perform our duty or deliver. So there's accountability. Then there is structure, which is the number 1 thing that I have. If you don't have structure, which is what Financial Sense is enabling us to have and to do and to enjoy more time now. And when you have structure, you can take on more work, because that's what happened. When you don't work through 10 o'clock, you can actually clock in more time on a different project when there's structure, really.
Absolutely. I love the angle of accountability and how everyone needs to know their role and what they're responsible for. So owning their role. I'm curious in the chat. What is the way that you manage your teams? How do you ensure they manage their own roles and know their role responsibility? What is their accountability? So I see Andrew, he says, use it for billing and tracking hours. So there's accountability there with time tracking. Your CC is transitioning from hourly rate to monthly rate, but we'll still time track to ensure accuracy. So you're a 1-person team. You're accountable for everything, Kristen. Yes, you are accountable for everything.
Absolutely.
So much harder to keep it all in your head. So
Yes.
making sure that you track your document your processes, so when you do want to grow and when you're ready to scale at the way that you choose to. That's the thing about keeping the calm in the chaos. You don't have to scale the way that everybody else is, the way that you want to scale. Put it in the chat. what your goal is for your firm. Is it scaling by clients? Is it scaling with pricing? Maybe you're changing your pricing structure. Is it making your firm more efficient? Tell me in the chat what you're looking for when it comes to having a goal for your firm that feels sustainable to you. I love Christine's message. I document everything and have knowledge so long, so I make sure to do it. We document all our processes and ensure tasks are in financial sense and are detailed, and have been making videos. So that's a way to keep everyone role responsible. We see scaling by clients, scaling by adding more people to my team. That's so exciting for you. So Malia, let's turn it back to you. What ways has your firm grown, and what is your goal for the future as you continue to build templates like the year-end review?
So now you have more time because everything is structured, and you can see right in front of you how much more time do you have. Like per person right now, you can easily look at how much project or work are you assigning to one person. Okay, if there are time left, then that tells me you can actually go and continue to refer clients, get on marketing. You can take on more clients specifically. So there's room for growth, absolutely, because you're able now to see this visibility into the data at hand, like almost immediately. Like if you have 3 big projects this month, and you know that are going to get done 3 weeks in, then you know there's a week, right? So it's really eye-opening for me when I first look into this. Kind of look at the schedules, yes, and to know that once you get the structure in, you're able to take on more work.
I love hearing that. The structure, people sometimes think it gets built in a day, but it doesn't, right?
No,
the structure is continual effort, putting investment back in your firm, ensuring that your processes are written, are streamlined, are tested, are gone back and reviewed, just as important as the client work. Well, we see Janita is scaling with proper infrastructure, processes, price increases, and adding team members. All of that works when your structure is sound. Scaling by clients from Carmen. And then also Kristen is scaling by pricing. You're happy with your current client load and looking to downsize. I love that. I see, the thing is, it's not always about growing your firm to be huge, but it's giving you the ability to someday retire. Thanks, Kristen, for writing that. I really appreciate that. What takes you out of the structure? When, like, is it a client phone call? Is it not following your processes? Put in the chat, what just is the thing that gets thrown at you in the week that will take you out of the structure and then you stop following it? Malia, how about you? Have you seen in your firm, maybe any of your team members, where they get sidetracked?
Yeah, so rarely happens now that there's structure, because when there's structure, you kind of enjoy it for a while and you don't want to lose track of it. It comes down to scheduling. If there's one that calls to put out a fire, that kind of rearranges the day for me.
Definitely.
Yes, but it's rarely. And I try to make sure that there's no real fire to put out. And these are coming from clients as well. Either way, it's billable hours. Yeah.
I think that's so smart, especially sometimes firm owners early on get an idea that you have to serve your client the way they demand. And
Yes.
really, by setting your structure in place, by keeping your templates the same, ensuring the systems and processes and workflows across every single team member is the same, it means then none of your clients might have big, interesting projects, but interesting does not mean unique.
Yes.
Right? So have you had a moment where you felt like you wanted to be lenient to a client?
Oh, absolutely. There's hand holding. So I'm pretty sure everybody here has that every once in a while. especially those who are, like I mentioned earlier, if they're not coming through a referral, there's going to be hand holding because you need to build trust. And you're kind of, okay, but I almost immediately know when the relationship is not going to work.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and you
What's
have
that
to end
criteria?
it, huh?
What's that criteria? You immediately know. What's that criteria?
Well, you go through with them, you sit, you spend the time because they come to you because they need the help, right? It's not that you really need their help. But then there's a list of demands and you're trying to meet them halfway, but they're not doing their job. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, I don't think this is going to work for everybody. You can kind of get to know that it's just not going to be. That's when you got to end the relationship.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
th- I think it's so important. And have you had that experience where you've had to offboard your clients? How do you do that? So I'm sure that's something that every accountant and bookkeeper and tax pro has to face, and it still feels scary, whether that's a big revenue loss or just the conversation itself because you've put time and investment in building that relationship.
Yes. So I just did one last month. So I just had to offboard, and that was I sat down and talked. There had been a lot of phone calls, from the client's end, where really what it was, we're partners tension going on internally in their own company. They kind of leaked into what we're doing, and I had to tell them multiple times, I do not need that, to kind of affect my people too and myself. And that kind of turned into text message after 8 o'clock at night. Your time with your family is now going to be shared with them. And that's not a line that I want to cross. I mean, it's what I've been doing the last 10 years. Right now, it's part of what this structure is helping me with, this boundary. And I want to keep it that way. And yes, affording the client, I don't feel like, yes, there was revenue loss, but at the end of the day, is it worth it for everybody? You got to sit down with your team too and explain and talk it through, because these people have put in time and effort into the project and they love doing it. But when you have a client that just can't help but bring in toxicity to your, that includes or affect the work that you're doing for them, it has
Absolutely.
to end. Yeah.
What about when the client is non-responsive? So in the chat, maybe they're not yet at a toxic level where you have to have that discussion, but in the chat, people are struggling with that non-responsive client.
Oh, I call. So if there's one that the system automation doesn't work and an email from me doesn't work, then there's a call. And normally that does it. But I think some of them just need to. And it's also important to kind of know the difference between there's a system automation at work, but there's also clients that do not really need hand holding, but would love to hear from you. So that phone, yes, all it took was, because they also have other questions and flow that, so it's kind of integrated now. Maybe once a month you give them a call into, what I'm doing here now.
I think that's what allows you to be able to do that, like being able to have the recurring reminders. It has that separation where you're not reminding every single day. You're not being the neg. The system in financial sense is consistently reminding day and day until they get it done. But when you have that phone call, that's your white glove, like beautiful approach to be able to connect with your client and have that relationship building, answer some questions that they have, really reinforce and retain them as a client, right?
Right.
So I think that's a wonderful answer. So we just have about a few minutes left. I want to make sure we get some more questions from the chat. I think this has been we have one. How do you okay, so they take so much time. I think the point is trying to save time on the admin side and on the fires that aren't actually unique, right? within the structure. So here's a question, going back to accountability within your firm, because I think we've talked a little bit about client accountability. They have
Mm-hmm.
to understand they're accountable to getting those documents to you by the deadline, or you can't do it for them. What are things when you onboard your client that you tell them about their accountability to you?
Okay, so, and I do the onboarding with them together, by the way, sharing also the template. This is you, this is me. You know, you have to do, it's almost a little hand holding. That's part of the introduction as well, to where I use the logic to where, or the quote, it takes both rain and sun for a plant to grow. So in this partnership, it takes you and me for it to work, right?
Yes.
And it seems to work. So because every time I kind of on board and then explain to them, I cannot get our work here. My team cannot get the work done if you do not provide all this. So, and yes, I do explain to them there will be automated reminders sent out. So expect it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not able, main thing is communication.
Open
So
communication.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
How do you communicate that your systems? Do you allow multiple channels for them to reach you through multiple channels, or however they want?
Oh yes. So they started doing, most of them found out that the within financial census, this little chat box to where, and I'm like, oh no, I need to shut this down because they're driving me crazy. They went from calls to emails to all of a sudden they found that there's a chat box that they can, and it becomes like a team messenger all almost at the same time. I'm like, no, don't do this. Send me a list so we can meet, or do you want me to bill you for every little text or chat message in there? So I cannot do that and be, but I understand when it's then they really need the answer immediately. So I'll go
I
ahead and
always I always think of clients as they are kind of like water looking for any leak because you
yes,
will consistently find the easy way out of the basin, right? And so making sure that you're channeling that water, right?
yes,
Channeling it to where you want to be, consistently showing up so that they build that good relationship with you, especially going into busy season, especially going into tax season where you can end and have a life outside of tax. What are I have to pop backstage. We're going to run a poll, and it's going to go up there. What it is I'm just curious, Malia, how long you've been with Financial Sense, and why you continue to use it in your firm. And we're going to run the poll, and it's asking if anyone on the call would like to see a personalized demo of Financial Sense. So we'll show that on stage. That'll be up for just a second. Okay, 30 seconds left and we'll close the poll. Get your answer in. So go ahead with that answer. How long have you been with Financial Sense, and what keeps your head on straight?
okay, so like I said, I started looking into this last November, so this is first anniversary, and I have decided to continue with Financial Sense for this very reason, because I've already seen that it's working, and I am very happy to know that I made the right decision last November. Within a year into it, I can already see that there's a big change in how we do things and more clarity on data. Like before, we used to have, I implemented Microsoft because we have the enterprise version of Office 365 to where you got projects here and email and all that, and you can use some of the automation, but it drove me crazy because sometimes people forget to update the status. There's no automation in there to update the status of a project. And when I look at this, I'm like, okay, I don't think there was a little struggle in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I want to, and that was closing down a project. Like somebody works on it and forget to actually hit stop because you're checking time.
I think that's so important to note, because we have to see that technology, when we're bringing it into a team, that everyone has a different level of being able to like remember all the steps. And so that's why the Financial Sense team puts tutorials directly in video tutorials directly inside of the product, so that you're able to see how to do just the little things, right? You don't want to watch 2 hours of training. You want to just know how to do it. And then I even use our chat all the time. He pulls in our chatbot Finn. He pulls so much great information, because one thing accountants is very specific, and that's the beauty of what you guys are, very detailed. And I absolutely love that. Detailed. So I constantly learn. I see Priscilla uses the colors for the tags. The color coding is really helpful for you. I think that's awesome. That's so exciting. What are tips and tricks, if there's any Financial Sense customers, what are your tips and tricks to keep organized within the system, to really be able to bubble up the information that you're looking for? Pop it in the chat. I think we have a few minutes left. So if you have any more questions for Malia, this has been such an interesting session. I've really enjoyed being able to hear about her leadership within her firm and how she handles year-end review. Malia, as we're waiting for more questions, with 2026 coming, what are methods of accountability that you want to implement? Maybe something that you haven't tried yet.
Well, I'd like to see probably open up, because right now, you know how every user have a limited access to what other people's data. Like there's different user level who can see whose work. And I think 2026, I'd like for everybody to have access to everybody else's. It creates motivation. I think of it as the salesman scorecard.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So you can easily set the goal now, starting in the beginning of the year, and then have everybody to see, okay, maybe but it's really a sit down with each one of them. Kind of, what do you think we can potentially be bringing in? Because it's always teamwork for the rest of the year, and go from there. But yes, I'd love to be able to see that. And guys, if you haven't made up your mind about Financial Sense, best advice I have is they're very open to your critiques. Not that I have many. I don't think I've sent Davida many or any at all, but I love how open they are to feedback.
I think that every single day, the fact that our community comes into the Financial Sense user group and not only learns from each other, but also shares feedback with our CEO, with our product manager, with our CTO, Sharam and Abdullah. And it has something about Financial Sense is it's built trust in me to be able to see my team members, my leaders, reaching out to our customers every single day. And so thank you, Malia. We just have about 1.5 minutes left. So Priscilla says, I got tired of seeing all the things outstanding. So she worked on her color coding. I love that. Yes. It totally makes sense. We all are tired of seeing things outstanding. So it's about time to be able to find ways to, within Financial Sense, to be able to make sure you have a sense of calm. Is there anything you'd like to leave the group with today, Malia?
I don't think so. Is anybody able to see this?
Oh, your screen? I took it backstage. I can bring it back up.
I know. That's fine. No, I just wanted to add this, that calm isn't the absence of work. It is the absence of uncertainty. And surely this structure here in the workflow really helps our team or calms us, so to speak, in a
Yeah,
way. And I hope it works with, everybody else or whoever is looking into it.
Could you say that one more time? I absolutely loved that quote. I'm going to write that down and put it on my wall.
Oh, calm is not the absence of work, it's the absence of uncertainty.
Yes.
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 And
Oh, when ambiguity hits, cortisol levels go up.
yes.
And it is not beneficial to your health or to your team or to your team's culture to allow for that uncertainty to exist. And when your
Yes.
structures and accountabilities are consistent, reliable, and communicated, you'll be able to run a really incredible, sustainable, and healthy firm. Thank you, everyone. We're going to call it there. Malia, would you mind writing the quote in the chat, and then we'll say goodbye?
Yes, let me get it there.
Wonderful.
Okay, there you go, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Hey.